And what is the biggest difference between a translation and a paraphrase?
I'm going to come at that maybe at another angle. I believe, David, that every translation in a measure is a paraphrase because of the need to change syntax, to move word order, even at times phrases. In English, time clauses are so important, like when and then, sequence and stuff like that, where it's not necessarily important in Hebrew or even Greek. So when you move words around and you move a phrase from the end of the sentence to the front of the sentence, is that not a paraphrase? So there is a measure of paraphrastic movement to every translation. I don't care which one they are. If it's not a lexicon, there is a measure of paraphrasing involved. So the basic translation, the notable difference between a translation and a paraphrase would be there is more accommodation to the text, where a literal translation, let's put the word literal in front of translation. A literal translation versus a paraphrase. A literal translation would have not much elasticity to changing the text to adhere to the receptor language. Whereas more of a paraphrastic translation would adapt the text to the receptor language more freely, more abundantly, more, it would connect to the receptor language, in my feeling, in my sense, even better than a word-for-word literal translation, which is highly unreadable, mostly not comprehensible, and can easily confuse.
It's sort of a lost cause to go after it that rigidly anyways, because you're never going to get there.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do. And for instance, you sent me one of the minor prophets recently, and you talked about, you translated something as the whole earth, haaretz. But on the other hand, that kind of means the land too, and they weren't thinking in terms of a planet. So that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's if somebody says, this will destroy the whole earth, they're thinking the whole planet's going to go up in flames. But perhaps the prophet was thinking about the area around us.
Right. We have land, earth, and country.
Yeah.
That can, those nuances are merged in the Hebrew. So
it's really challenging to bring that across without. There is no one word that goes to one word in every language. You just plug and play and it'll all work. That just doesn't work.
I think it's really important to communicate to our friends that God's word is meant to be understood, not just read. God isn't pushing you to read the Bible. He's pushing you to know his heart and to know his thoughts, to know the ways of God, and to know his plan for your life, which is revealed in the Bible. So comprehension and readability and understanding is about equal footing in my heart as to accuracy and literalness of the text. So a desire to be literal in the translation is admirable. I commend that. But if literal doesn't communicate, what are we doing? Are we distorting God's word if we can't understand it? And I believe that we are. So comprehension, readability, understanding is very important.